Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Homebrew. It's been a while. How's everyone been? How you doing up, Joe?
It's 2022.
Yeah, that's right.
It's crazy. So yeah, I've been good. It's cold out, trying to keep warm, and make some moves with Nuhom.
Yeah, likewise. I'm drinking just hot water right now. That's it. It's like my thing now to like fight the cold and the frigid air. We don't have any snow, but we have a ton of cold air.
It's coming. I feel like snow is going to come.
Well, it's good for you because you like skiing. So, hey, for today, would just like to welcome everybody here. We are going to be going over a really important topic, especially in this continuously tough market for buyers. Today, we're going to be talking about escalation clauses, what they are not, when it's sort of best to be used. Why, more importantly, and a little bit of experience that we've had with escalation clauses over the last year, and just some of the success and the things to watch out for. So stay tuned, listen in. Should be a really good episode.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about this because it's been a very competitive market for home buyers, right? So this is like a tool that they could use to kind of give them the edge.
Right.
Yeah.
So specifically, an escalation clause is sort of an attachment to your offer, right? If you're going to make an offer, you're going to have a price on it and contingencies and maybe some dates. An escalation clause effectively is an attachment to that and allows you to escalate your price by certain increments up to a certain cap if, in fact, that seller receives other offers in competition against your offer.
So just to be clear, this is part of the offer contract that you're submitting when you like a home.
Correct.
Right. So this is not something that you add later down the line.
Correct.
This is part of the offer.
This is part of the offer when you're making it. With the Nuhom, we actually have it built right into our offer platform.
Why is this a tool that gives buyers the edge? Like, why is this used?
Yeah. So it's used only in competitive bid situations. And I say only because otherwise you would be showing your cards too much to a seller. This is when you know there's going to be at least one other offer or 5, 10, 20 other offers on the table. And it's because it allows you to peg a price and then automatically trigger your price to go up to a certain amount of your choosing if there are other offers on the table in competition. And that's the pros there are there's sort of less back and forth. You're signaling to the seller a very strong thing. Like, you love this home. You love it up to this much. And if there are other buyers, you love it more than them perhaps. And that can be a very effective tool.
Interesting. So just to break down the components, so you have a max price that you're willing to go up to, right? And then you have these increments that you go up to reach that max price. Right. So if you have a competing bid, the clause, the escalation clause, will kick in,
right, and
put you at the top. Of the price. So
just like when you might buy something on eBay and there's like a automatic bidding function, right? Which is, hey, I want to buy this doll for up to $100, but I'm bidding 80. And if anybody comes in above 80, between 80 and 100, I'm willing to compete with them in increments of $2 above them. So if somebody comes in at 90 and that's the next best offer, they would sell it to you for $92.
Okay.
Similarly, our last escalation clause we used was about a week and a half ago on a single-family home, which is where we probably used the escalation clause the most over the last year, because the single families are still the most competitive asset class within residential, home buying versus condos and multifamilies. And in that example, we had a buyer who made an offer at $950. We actually did a pricing analysis for them, and we comped the home out between $920 and $950. They felt like they wanted the home so badly and that it was important for them to be extremely competitive that they added an escalation clause to their offer of $950 and saying, I'm willing to raise my offer of $950 up to $1 million. So $50,000 escalation clause, of increments of $2,000 above any other competing offers. And so we included that escalation clause, and we specifically asked that the seller has to show us bona fide offers if, in fact, this escalation clause triggers. And so we were lucky. Our buyer was right in choosing this range, because we ended up successfully getting the bid at $992.
Wow.
Now, how do we do that? The seller agent sent us an offer, redacted, of name, and just the front page, and said, here's an offer at $990. And you saw a date, and they said, hey, we've got this offer at $990. Based on your escalation clause, you can have this at $992. Would you like to proceed? We went back to our buyers. Buyer said, yep, we're good. We would like to proceed with all the other terms as is, and the price being at $992. And we resubmitted the original offer of $950, but at $992, and just updating the numbers and the timings, and keeping the terms the same.
So in this case, if the buyer didn't have the escalation clause, would they have gotten this deal?
No way.
No. Okay.
Yeah, we knew. When you do this is typically when a seller agent tries to price a home below asking price, and our comparable analysis that we sent them and our pricing analysis that we sent them proved that it was priced below. It was priced at $899. Often the sort of 99 rule that a lot of seller agents do. We had priced it around $950, but we knew it could go higher. The open house, we weren't there, but I assume was fairly filled. And we knew this is like the sort of what you might see a hot home on Redfin, right? It's tagged because there's a lot of people looking at the home on the website, and so there's just a natural sense that there's a lot of people that are interested.
Yeah.
And so using an escalation clause was really key. Not all homes or sellers rather accept an escalation clause. Some like to have this process be a little more clean, because there are times when there are multiple escalation clauses on the table. And so now you've got a seller and a seller agent deciphering multiple escalation clauses and trying to understand what they mean against each other. We recently had a seller in Dedham. They had 8 offers, but apparently 2 of them had escalation clauses with no caps. And it's probably the first time I've ever heard that. It's an insane market still, but it gives you an idea of how much people are willing to compete for something. In that example, the seller agent probably had to go back to the buyers and say, hey, we need a cap because this can't go on forever to an infinity, and nobody has that kind of money. And so I'm not sure how they kind of arrived at it, but most likely they had to say, hey, give us your best and final number,
right,
your highest number that you're willing to go to. And, that's probably what won it.
So what I'm hearing is there's some pros and cons to having an escalation clause.
Yeah. Yep. So the quick pros, if we haven't alluded to it enough already, is that it acts like a trigger. It's automatic. And for some people who don't want to negotiate, go back and forth, and don't want to lose out potentially on a deal, if someone's being asked to give your best and final number, a lot of buyers think that you're going to have a second chance at going back. Not all sellers give you that chance. And if there's only one shot, this is a fabulous tool to kind of signal to the seller, hey, I want this. And so it's this, automatic trigger, and, you don't get you give your best shot, and you don't feel like you walked away without putting it all on the table.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the escalation clause, it really like pushes the price, but a negative could be, the seller might not be just looking at price. They're looking at all these other terms that's part of the offer. So it may work in your favor in certain circumstances, but at times it may not as well.
Yeah, like in that example, it could be that, we dropped a lot of our contingencies, not all, but a lot of them. And it could have been that 990 offer did not drop any contingencies, but their price was 990. And so in that sense, the escalation clause focuses entirely on price and not on terms. And so you have to be okay with the terms that you're putting in, knowing that the price could go up at those terms. And so, it's not like we start looking at every offer and every detail and start comparing them and escalating all of them, types of things like that. But just be comfortable with the contingencies you've included or not included. Now, the seller could still have taken that other offer at 990 and said, hey, I like the terms on this offer better and I'm good enough with the price. I don't care for the $2,000 that I'm getting from this other offer at 992. Let's just go with them. And then they can decide, given what they have in front of them. It's not that they're required to take, kind of like a reserve price or something on eBay. It's not that they're required to take it, even if it's there.
Just looking at the example that you mentioned, the buyer went from $950 to almost $1 million because of it. But really happy for the home buyer because he got the home, or she got the home that they wanted.
Yeah, and they were comfortable doing this, right? It's not as though it was a huge surprise. They put in a range of 950 to $1 million. They were very comfortable knowing the value of the home based on our analysis. And they said to themselves, hey, we found the home we want and we don't want to lose it. And so that was, there's some people who appreciate that level of simplicity. And, there's others that want to negotiate, and that's perfectly fine. But an escalation clause is a great tool if you've found the home you absolutely want and it's going to be, competitive bid situation. And you don't want to lose out on the home.
What would you say in 2021, all the buyers that we've helped, how often have you used the escalation clause?
Yeah, so I think somewhere between 35 and 45% or so have been escalation clause successful. Okay. Yeah, meaning they've used them, they haven't used them, and we've averaged about 5 to 7 offers a client in 21. But then about 45% or so have been successful in finally winning the bid. And it's heavily weighted, on the single family side again, because that's where a lot of this has been. And
it's 2022. So do you see this kind of playing into, the market and the environment that we're in right now? It's still going to be competitive. Would you recommend an escalation clause to our buyers?
100%. We're still in an extremely competitive market. We had to use this clause just a week ago. I see that throughout this year, especially in single family, because I think single family is still going to be a major focus for people, given COVID, given just new realities. There won't be enough homes coming on the market in the single family space to meet the demand. And, that's where a lot of the headlines are. And so using the escalation clause to compete in that world is a great tool.